come to order on our May 5th, 2020 board meeting. We will attest that everybody is present from the board. We will have actually no student representatives available today. So I would like to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, report on closed session items. George Neely motioned. Gary Knaxet motion, George Neely second, and the board voted to approve case number SPE 2020-01 by the following vote of 6-1. Mr. Porter being no. Personnel matters, appointment of Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction. Ron Freitas motion, Susan McFarland second, and the board approved the appointment of Robert Sally as Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction effective July 1st, 2020 by the following vote of 7-0. George Neely motion, Gary Knaxet second. The board to approve the appointment of Gina Acevedo as elementary principal, location TBD, by a vote of 7-0. Personnel matter again, Ron Heberly motion, Susan McFarland second, that the board approve the appointment of Elizabeth Horton as elementary principal, TBA, by a vote of 7-0. Maria, are you getting all these?
Yes, President Nava.
Okay, if you don't, let me know because I can slow down. George Neely motion, Courtney Porter second. The board approved the appointment of Janae Waters as adult ed and CTE vice principal at Lincoln Tech Academy by a vote of 7-0. Personnel matter, Ron Freitas motion, George Neely second. The board approved the appointment of Gary Moore as elementary principal, location to be announced, by a vote of 7-0. That will conclude our closed session items. Okay, let's continue on with our regular board meeting. We have some recognitions tonight, and it's really a nice thing because it's about that time that we have some proclamations and honored people in our district that have done an outstanding job, and we go from there. Okay. First of all, I'd like one moment, please. I'm not going to go in order of what we have, so let's go with the Teacher of the Year, Amber Jagger. Teacher of the Year, please. Is she prepared?
President Nava, we don't see Amber has joined the meeting.
Okay, so we need somebody to acknowledge our.
Please call on Hillary.
Okay, Hillary.
Hello, good evening, President Nava. This is Hillary Harrell.
Go ahead, Hillary.
Okay, so it brings me great pleasure to be here tonight, even virtually, to honor one of our own, Laura LaRue. She is a teacher at Bear Creek High School, and we were honored as a school site to recommend her as our Teacher of the Year. And we are overjoyed that she was selected to represent our district. Laura LaRue is a consummate professional. She is a leader among her peers. She is who we all go to, myself included, when we need to wrestle with the very real and difficult things that we face in education today. She is a rock. She is dependable. She's wickedly funny and quick on her feet. And I'm absolutely overjoyed that we can share this honor with her. And I look forward to many more years working with her at Bear Creek. She inspires me every day to be better at what I do, to pursue excellence, and to make sure that every student at Bear Creek has the very best that our educators can offer.
Very good. Thank you very much, Hillary. I am locating my proclamations. It gives me great honor to, before the Board of Education of Lodi Unified School District of the County of San Joaquin and State of California, proclamation, whereas the State of California is fortunate to have a team of skilled, caring educators who during the current unprecedented global pandemic have taken on the role of essential workers, making it possible for students to continue to learn during this uncertain time. And whereas California teachers, while facing personal and professional challenges, work tirelessly to provide students instruction through distant learning. And whereas California teachers have responded to the call to serve as disaster service workers in service of the community at large, and in particular to supporting healthcare and essential workers with childcare needs. And whereas California teachers have been responsible for educating millions of students since the state's founding and have led efforts to promote and advance educational opportunities for all. And whereas California teachers have promoted the value of public education and advocate for the resource necessary to maintain high quality schools and colleges. And whereas California teachers have not only historically shaped the education system of the state, but continue to take a leading role in effort to improve education for all. And whereas the theme of the 38th annual California Day of the Teacher is California Teachers Inspiring Generations. Now, whereas the Board of Education proclaims Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 as California Day of the Teacher in Lodi Unified School District. Congratulations to the teachers, and let's have a great final year on this pandemic, and let's start a good year for next August or July. Thank you.
Mr. Nava,
Yes.
this is Kathy.
Yes.
I believe we have Laura LaRue keyed up to speak. If you want to hear a few words from her.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know that we had her there. Of course
That's
we
okay.
do. Yes, thank you, Dr. Washer.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled by this honor. I'm lucky to have a job that I absolutely love. And I have a wonderful family at home and at Bear Creek, the administration and the other teachers that are there to support me. So thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to your award. We'll continue on with the agenda. And now we have a proclamation for designated week of May 17, 23, 20 classified school employee is Mr. Ron Freitas.
Thank you, President Nava, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm very honored. One, that we're recognizing so many people tonight because of all the amazing job that they're doing, but also that I can recognize that classified school employees means quite a bit to me. So it goes a little something like this. Before the Board of Education of the Lodi Unified School District of the County of San Joaquin, State of California, proclamation designating May 17th through the 23rd of 2020 as Classified School Employee Week in Lodi Unified School District. The third full week of May has been designated Classified School Employee Week by the California State Legislature by a passage of SB 1552 by Senator Campbell in 1986 in recognition of the invaluable services classified school employees provide to California public schools. Whereas classified school employees are education support professionals who continually strive for excellence in areas relative to the education community. And whereas classified employees support and enhance the educational process by assisting students and teachers, transporting students, preparing nutritional meals, maintaining buildings and grounds, and performing technical, business, clerical, and secretarial functions. And whereas LUSD classified employees provide our organization with specialized skills and contribute to the educational excellence in our schools and programs day in and day out in order to support and prepare our students for the 21st century. And whereas classified employees provide vital services that enable the Lodi Unified School District to respond effectively to the needs of students and their families, teachers, administrators, and other support staff, and the needs of the greater community. Now, therefore, the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contribution of the classified professionals to quality education in the state of California and the Lodi Unified School District, and proclaim the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2020 as Classified School Employees Week. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2020, signed Joe Nava, President, Board of Education, Lodi Unified School District. Congratulations, classified school employees, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas. What a great job our classified employees do in Lodi Unified School District. Thank you. Now we have a proclamation for School Nutrition Employee Week. Ms. McFarland?
Thank you, President Nava. I will get directly to it. Before the Board of Education of the Lodi Unified School District of the County of San Joaquin, State of California, proclamation School Nutrition Employee Week, May 4th through the 8th, 2020. Whereas the California Department of Education has declared the week of May 4th through the 8th, 2020 as School Nutrition Employee Week. And whereas the observance of School Nutrition Employee Week presents a special opportunity to recognize the competence, dedication, and commitment of the nutrition service employees in the Lodi Unified School District. And whereas research shows that school-aged children who experience hunger have higher levels of absenteeism, nurses' visits, and have more challenges than children receiving a well-balanced diet. And whereas frequent studies have shown that meals provided at school not only contribute to the nutritional needs of students, but also significantly increase and enhance their ability to learn. And whereas school nutrition employees creatively nurture partnerships with parents, teachers, community groups, and governmental personnel to promote the nutritional values of their programs. And whereas the men and women who prepare, deliver, and serve school meals are dedicated to providing helpful and nutritious meals to the children of our district. And whereas the Board of Education of Lodi Unified School District wishes to join with the California Department of Education in giving recognition to and focusing public attention on the overall excellence of the food service program and services provided by the nutrition services professionals in the public schools. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lodi Unified School District expresses its appreciation to the nutrition services professionals and declares the week of May 4th through 8th, 2020 as School Nutrition Employee Week in Lodi Unified School District, dated this 5th day of May 2020, and it's signed by President Joe Nava, Board of Education. Thank you for all of your work, Nutrition Services.
Thank you, Susan. What a great job. We have probably the best, I know, the best nutrition department in the state of California. They serve some of the people in all counties, even Stockton Unified. I understand we have some contracts with them. So congratulations. We have next the proclamation of National School Nurse Day. Mr. George Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. Maria, is Donna Aarons on the line?
I don't see her. I don't see her, Mr. Neely.
Okay, that's fine. All right. I spoke with Donna. Donna is our lead nurse. And I spoke with her, and I wanted to find out kind of what was going on. I mean, the theme this year is for school nurses is supporting students in time of crisis. So I wanted to find out what had changed. And as you can probably guess, a lot has changed, except their mission. They still forge on and continue to support our students. And considering there's only 16 of them, and there are about 28,000 students, that can be tough. So I asked Donna to tell me kind of what they've been doing. Well, they're still doing IEPs. Nurses are still making those. They're working heavy on supplies for next year, for masks and all of that kind of, and disinfectants and all that kind of thing. They're working hard on that as well. And then also they're trying to close out this year. They've got all of these medications that they're responsible for our students that they've got to get back to parents and that kind of thing. They're also working on emergency plans for next year. And they're taking care of the TB test notifications for all of our staff. Lately, if you don't have to have a TB test, you do an interview with them and they'll let you know. She also said their greatest challenge was communication. So they're there every day and they're continuing to work. So because of that, we want to honor them tomorrow on National School Nurse Day. As I said, the 2020 theme is school nurses supporting students in time of crisis. Whereas students are the future, and by investing in them today, we are ensuring our world for tomorrow. And whereas families deserve to feel confident that their children will be cared for when they are at school. And whereas all students have a right to their physical and mental health needs safely met while in school setting. And whereas students today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school, and whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has emphasized the essential role that school nurses play in health and academic success, and whereas school nurses have served in a critical role in improving public health and ensuring school students' academic success for more than 100 years. And whereas school nurses address the home and community factors, such as social detriments that impact students' health, and whereas school nurses act as a liaison to the school community, families, and healthcare providers on behalf of children's health by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for our nation's children. And whereas school nurses support health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care when children's cognitive development is at its peak. And whereas school nurses are members of school-based teams like social health services, 504 IEP, disaster emergency relief planning, to address the school population. And whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day. Therefore, be it resolved that the National Association of School Nurses celebrates and acknowledges the accomplishments of school nurses everywhere and their efforts of meeting the needs of today's students by improving the delivery of health care in our school, and offers gratitude for the nation's school nurses who contribute to our local communities by helping students stay healthy in school and ready to learn, and keeping parents and guardians at work, not just on this National School Nurse Day, but at every opportunity throughout the year. Now, therefore, the Board of Education of Lodi Unified proclaims Wednesday, May 6, 2020 as National School Nurse Day in Lodi Unified School District, signed this 5th day of May, 2020 by Joe Nava, President, Board of Education.
Thank you, George. Well done. Again, 16 nurses we have in our district. They have a tremendous job to do for all the schools that we have. I congratulate them and just have a great day on May 6th. Thank you. I will continue on with proclamations. We have a proclamation for Principal Mr. Gary Konexak.
Thank you, President Nava. It's my honor to announce the following proclamation. Whereas principals make a significant difference for students and staff every day, impacting effectiveness of teachers and the achievement of students. And whereas school principals serve as education leaders who motivate and inspire all members of the school staff and student body to engage in the learning process. And whereas principals set the academic tone for a school by working with teachers and staff to set rigorous academic standards and push students to excel. And whereas principals act as liaisons, interacting and partnering with parents, as well as collaborating and communicating with their communities. And whereas educational leaders face challenges in educating our young people, and is through their perseverance and passion that Lodi Unified School District is able to continue to produce quality, career-ready students. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education joins the California Department of Education in celebrating Principals Day by taking this opportunity to recognize the hard work of Lodi Unified School District principals as we continue to encourage, support, and recognize those who have a positive impact on our students and the educational system in Lodi Unified School District. We, as members of the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education, do hereby proclaim that May 1st, 2020 was Principals Day. Thank you to all our principals. Good job.
Thank you, Gary. Awesome leadership we have in our district. All the elementary, middle, alternative, and comprehensive high schools and more. Thank you for that proclamation. We will continue on with the agenda. Our next item is Superintendents Report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and thank you so much for taking time to recognize staff. We certainly do have tremendous efforts going on, not just during this crisis, but all the time. I do want to acknowledge that it's not just during this time, but our staff works hard, whether in any circumstance. You know, it's heartwarming to see on television those public service announcements that recognize and honor the work that's being done by our healthcare providers, our police, our firefighters, those who are going above and beyond during this health crisis. What is a little disappointing in those is that the piece that's missing are the school employees. And I believe that our folks who are feeding our children every day, 5 days a week, 2 meals a day, who are providing supportive environments as best they can virtually, who are providing learning activities and lessons to children as best as they can in this environment. Those folks deserve to be recognized as well. And it would be nice to have some pieces for the public on those public service announcements for our employees as well, because we know that they're working just as hard. Want to let you know that during this time, we are still moving forward with some of the priorities and goals that the board has set forth. One being the early college effort. As you know, Lodi Unified is actually a leader in this effort in getting students to be able to take college courses and even get an AA degree along with their high school diploma. We are working on a unifying vision for this effort to draw all of our efforts together under one vision. We are continuing to move forward with our new cohort that will be our 9th graders next year who can take college classes after school. We are expanding or moving forward with our additional cohorts with Valley Robotics, and we have good enrollment with our new grades. And we have also, under your authority, expanded middle college high. So just want to let you know that we continue to move forward even under these circumstances with your goals and priorities that you have set for us in many areas. I want to also let board know that this is a time now when we do need to watch our budget carefully. I know that Mr. Khan will be presenting a report here shortly, but we have been looking at this and starting to have very serious conversations about what we need to do as a district, making some plans, getting some ideas together about how we can look at our budget very carefully. We do anticipate that there will be reductions both at the state and federal level. I'm not sure what that impact will be at this point, but we have to anticipate that that's coming and that we will need to take steps to address that. So I just want to let you know that that is on our mind a lot and is something that we are having conversations about. I do want to thank our community, our Got Kids t-shirt promotion. We have sold out of the Got Kids shirts. That's over 500 t-shirts have been sold. So thank you very much from our community for stepping up and helping us with that. Just want to acknowledge that all the money made from that will go straight to our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Washer, for your report. Next, we have comments from the public. A 20-minute time period has been set aside for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker should limit his or her comments to 3 minutes, but is welcome to distribute any material to the board and or staff due to restrictions imposed by the California Brown Act regarding discussing topics that are not on the agenda. Board members may not engage in dialogue about the issue. Maria, we have any public comments?
Yes, we do, President Nava. We have Michelle Orgon. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, Michelle.
Thanks, Maria, but I'm not speaking on public comments, employee group comments.
Can we wait on that, Michelle? Hello? Can we wait on the employee comments?
Yes, President Nava, and we don't have any more public comments.
No public comments from the audience, okay. Then we have our next on the agenda is comments from the board. Mr. Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. I'm going to be real quick about this. And things are continuing to move along. A couple of accolades. First of all, people have been sharing things with me, what they've done, and I'm just absolutely amazed. It gets better and better. I see that more and more people are becoming really involved in the distant learning and what they can do for their kids. It's just becoming an amazing thing. So thank you very much to everybody involved in that. I also want to say that our board meetings have been going extremely well. As I've been making meetings with members of the board of other districts through CSBA, and they've been talking about all the problems that they've had. And I said, well, Edith has actually got ours running very, very well. So kudos to Edith on that. And you know what? I'm going to turn this over so other people can talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Mr. Heverly.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. The only comment I have this evening is I wanted to extend my congratulations to the Teacher of the Year and all the other groups that were recognized this evening. Really, it's a wonderful thing to have you here with our district. Wonderful people are involved. So thank you so much. You are noticed, you are appreciated, and again, thank you for your service. That's it.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. Mr. Knaxat.
Yeah, thank you, President Nava.
Mhm.
I've been talking to a few teachers recently about their experiences with the distance learning so far, and these comments are very anecdotal. It's not I didn't talk to everybody in the district, but anyway, some of the things I'm hearing that's somewhat disturbing is that doesn't seem to be a lot of real buy-in by students. As we saw at the last meeting, we had all three of those teachers, I believe, talked about less than 30% of the people were participating. So it's kind of limited participation right now. I feel like that's because of the state's do no harm type of a approach, and that problem will probably go away in the future. On the other hand, the other thing I'm hearing is that teachers are getting a chance to learn a whole lot of new platforms, but it's kind of like being a brand new teacher all over again. For somebody that's been doing it for 25 years, now you have to start learning a different system. And when it just a short toll sounds like between the Google Classroom versus Zoom, I'm hearing that they kind of like Google better, but it really kind of depends upon what you're using it for, I think. The other concern I heard was the need for more training, like virtual labs, especially for science and CTE, that type of stuff. I guess there's a lot of things out there, but our teachers seem to be asking for that kind of training. So anyway, I think we need a couple of plans for reopening the school in our new normal. Our new normal, I have a feeling, is going to look something like a hybrid. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't see in the future, but we're going to need to schedule some kind of face-to-face and distance learning. Oh, that was the other thing. One comment one teacher made is that we're missing the face-to-face contact. Teachers by nature tend to be people persons, and we're missing that element. Another comment was, I didn't become a teacher to sit behind a computer all day and never see the student. So those are frustrations that I'm hearing, and I'm sure those frustrations are everywhere in the state of California, in the country, that's doing this distance learning. So I would kind of like to see sometime maybe in the near future from admin, what does our school look like when we open it up? And I'd like to, I don't know if anybody has a crystal ball, what it's going to look like, but I think as I think Dr. Washer said, we need to plan for the worst and hope for the best. But I'd kind of like to see, what ideas you've come up with. And I'm sure that staff has been looking at that. So anyway, those are just some things I've been hearing, and I wanted to pass it on to the board. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Gary. Ms. McFarland?
Thank you, President Nava. I'll be real quick. I just wanted to thank Chelsea and her staff. I love the videos that are being posted. So thank you to the district. I do have some concerns that we're going to lose some of these very talented actors and actresses to Hollywood. I've seen some that are very entertaining, and I'm sure warms the heart of many of their students to see their faces. So thank you for all the warm videos that you're posting, Chelsea, and keep it up. I enjoy it.
Thank you, Susan. Mr. Porter?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nava. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Laura LaRue for being teacher of our district. It's an outstanding accomplishment.
and excellent job that you've done and are doing for our students and your school at Bear Creek. I also would like to teachers for the California Day of the Teacher. The school employees, we need you. Nutrition, awesome. Keep it up. So congrats to all those groups. I also like to thank Joe Nava. It's very difficult to run these meetings on the GoTo meeting website. It's just difficult. I tried to run one for something else that I'm in, and it's not easy. And it's easy to point fingers and say, oh, mistakes and something like that. But he's done an excellent job, and in our closed session. And he makes sure that every voice is heard. And I really want to thank him. He has been a true mentor to me, and he is an icon in the Stockton, Lodi area for all the things that he's done for the community. So I wanted to thank Joe for all he's done. Finally, as being our board president, finally, I know that there's a lot of division out there within our district, and it's probably because of so much uncertainty, what's going to happen. That creates a lot of anxiety. But if we work together as a team, a group, I think a lot of good things can come out of this. It's a great time for us to look at what we do and maybe reset what is effective and what isn't. Education's going to change, and it could change in a good way. And maybe we can recapture a lot of those students that are going to charter schools. Maybe we can look at ways we improve on our education, our meals, so many different ways, our school day, how different kids function under different types of learning environments. So instead of, and obviously this is a horrible time, it's a pandemic, but also we could look at it as a time to maybe to press the reset button, look at what works in our district and look what doesn't work. And we could do that from all the groups, all the way from CSEA to our teachers, to our administrators, and make it a cleaner, more nimble, efficient system, have more site-based decision-making with all groups involved. I think would make us, again, more streamlined. So I'm looking upon this as an opportunity to improve and get better. And I do know that we'll come out of this as a district stronger, more cohesive, and working on, of course, providing the best learning for our students that we possibly can. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Knob, as well.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for your kind words. It's the group that makes me actually do what I need to do. And the board is such a great group that I'm glad that I'm able to work with you and do the good things. Mr. Freitas.
Thank you, Mr. Nava. I'd like to join my colleagues in all of their comments, and I too am very excited that May 13th will be the Day of the Teacher. Laura LaRue, thank you for the outstanding job you're going to do, and you're going to do outstanding in the district competition. We look forward to seeing you bring home the trophy. And to all of our groups, that our principals, our teachers, nutrition, nurses, thank you everyone for the amazing job you've done. And thank you, Mr. Porter, for recognizing Mr. Nava. This is no small feat. He does it with a grace and a style that is not easy and is very much appreciated. And I think brings out insightful comment and action by this board. I would also like to thank McNair. May 1st was also signing day, and the video that they put together honoring their high school seniors is very, very exciting and much appreciated for the great job that they did. Look forward to the graduations and what each of our campuses are going to be putting forward. Also, I'd like to thank the superintendent for, again, selling those Got Kids t-shirts. Right now, Got Kids has spent almost $10,000 on Keep Kids Connected, which is providing tools for kids and supplies for them to be involved. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Much more is needed. So anything anyone can do, donations or purchasing t-shirts, or if you have supplies that you can provide, Got Kids is more excited to do it. And with that, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Freitas. Thank you for the kind words. I have just a few words here. I wanted to mention that, now we know how valuable the teachers are. My gosh, I have so many comments on all kinds of emails and phone calls of how these parents and students miss their teachers. I have 4 grandchildren that they're on my case all the time. And they're, when are we going back? I said, I'm not a doctor and I don't predict, but I had a good reading on Dr. Scott Atlas of Stanford Neuroradiology. Maybe Courtney knows him, but he's from Stanford. And he mentioned something that gave me a lot of encouragement. It says youngsters from 1 through 18 are very resilient. They will not catch, if they do catch the virus, they get rid of it right quick and heal quickly. They haven't heard of any deaths or anything like that for those age levels. He also mentioned that education will not be with spacing. It's very difficult to have spacing when we go back to school. These kids, especially at the elementary school level, they all are touching each other and having fun and being social and all those kinds of things. So we have I have a good feeling that by August, if not earlier, that school will start, and it will start almost normal, except for a few variations of restrictions that we might have. But other than that, I feel very comfortable about that. I want to echo the Teacher of the Year at Bear Creek. I hope that we can advance later. I know we're sorry that we can't have a program, but we will have a program probably on distance. So hopefully that you are successful as you go further on, Laura. Thank you very much. We will continue on with the agenda. This is a report that we have from Mr. Khan. It's the staff will provide information in relations to the national state economy uncertainty and school finance and the impact on school district as a result of the global health crisis. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, President Nava, members of the board, Dr. Washer. I'm almost sorry to bring you this report today, but it will mimic some of the horrible headlines that we've seen in newspapers of late. I believe you can see my screen with a slide that is titled Lodi USD Budgetary Implications of COVID-19. Is this visible, Edith?
I got it.
Okay. So very simply, California's California K-12 public schools business operations are actually quite simple. We don't sell anything. We don't manufacture anything. We provide a service to the public's school-age children, and we get funded by the state and some federal agencies for that service. That funding comes from people who work through the medium of taxes, whether they're property taxes, sales taxes, income taxes, excise taxes, et cetera. I thought I'd show this slide just to show how drastic the last 2 months have been in not only the world economy, not only the United States, but also in California. In 2011, California recorded 16,091 jobs. That number of jobs grew to 18,627,400 in the 2019 year, job growth of 2,535,500. In 5 weeks, this state lost 3,291,000 jobs. I don't know what last week's numbers were, but I do know that the nation as a whole, initial jobless claims rose by 3,980,000. So I imagine this California number is up again. In our own county, I've also given the data as well from 2011, 2019. And the number of the job loss indicated here, 46,000 600 jobs in San Joaquin County is actually an estimate from University of Pacific Center for Business and Policy Research, but it is in line with the California state numbers to the left in terms of percentages. These jobs contributed to PIT, which stands for personal income tax, sales tax, and I would also argue, since they're the end buyer, the people who work these jobs of things corporations make, that they pretty much contributed to the corporate tax rate as well. The percentages to the right of each of these indicate their makeup of the state, the 2021 budget presented by Governor Newsom in January of this year. So fully, it's 97% of the state's revenue. If you X out the corporate tax, it's still almost 87%. I'll move next to how that shows up in Lodi Unified. You will see, may I ask, can everybody see this cash flow table? I think I heard yes, but
I see it.
Yes, it's there.
So this table is how the money hits on our balance sheets, how it comes in cash. I'll go ahead and increase this if you give me just a second. I'm going to slide it over to the May and June, and I'll increase the size. I hope that's visible. So these are the various levels or types of revenues that we put on our own balance sheet. In May, we expect to receive $16.9 million in revenue, and then our biggest apportionment month and revenue month of the calendar year is, of course, the final month of the year, and that's June of $63 million. Due to the immense job loss, it's currently reckoned that state revenues are going to fall precipitously, at least in this current period of time. Such to the fact that the County Office of Ed has already advised us to count on this June dollar amount being deferred until July. That advice was given 2 weeks ago, and last week they said there's a real possibility that May will be deferred into July as well. To give you some idea, this is roughly $80 million, and we will need to interfund borrow from all of our reserve accounts to meet our expenditures in those 2 months if that comes to pass. Now, thus far, we don't know if it's going to come to pass. We should know a little more in just about a week when May Revise is released. But even so, this event has occurred so quickly, it's hard to imagine that the Department of Finance or DOF will actually have an accurate read on the impact. Now, what I'm showing via the GoToMeeting right now is FCMAT's most recent fiscal alert. FCMAT is a Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team. So if I just wanted to point out this one item. This is for the 2021 budget year, and it couldn't be more dire. Best case, funded COLA could be in the -2%. Worst case, -10%. None of us have seen an event like this in our lifetime. Even the great financial crisis that we all went through not 10 years ago took many years to complete only part of this level of funding drain. So if this were to come to pass, we would all have to work together to really figure out how we're going to move forward. But again, we hopefully will know a little more to a lot more in about a week or so. Now, what does this mean to the district's finances? This is a spreadsheet that mimics exactly the board's second interim 1920, which the board approved in March of 2020, just not even 2 months ago. So these numbers are exactly as they appear. These are our revenues. This is LCFF is state revenue. It comes from personal income tax, sales tax, corporate tax. Other state revenue are some of the categorical pass-throughs and other funds that are provided to the district. Routine restricted maintenance would be a good example, one of the largest ones. Federal revenue, typically this is more than likely going to be special ed revenue. But as I talk, I'm going to refer mostly to the state sources of revenues. I don't have any federal calculations in here, but what I do have in the 2021 year, in the 2021 year and also the 21-22 year is a 3% COLA and a 2.8% COLA. So if we're average those at 2.9 and then zero them out, this is what would happen. We would reduce our revenue by better than 10 million in each of those 2 budget years, and our ending reserve would drop by 10.1 and 20.5 respectively over the course of these 2 years. So this is just to zero out the COLAs that we currently have in our budget. If we go back to the FCMAT fiscal alert and say put a middle number in there of 4%, which would add it to the COLAs that we've just taken out, change that to 6.9, we have effectively reduced almost all but our 3% ending balance. So somewhere around this number, we start moving from positive certifications to qualified. And then I think up around 9%, we're pretty much negative now, or close. So I don't know how to paint this picture as anything other than dire at the moment. If we're looking for any ray of hope, it's maybe anecdotal at best, but it's certainly not meaningless. Some of the big brokerage companies in the country are starting to say that we should see rebounds in the third quarter. The second quarter will be quite ugly, but we should see rebounds in the third and fourth quarter. Although that is the vaunted V-shaped recovery that you may have read about in your newspapers or on your news feeds. And my only caution to that is if we go back to this employment analysis, these are a lot of jobs to have lost. In 2 months, we lost more jobs in California than we gained in the entire preceding 10 years. And to somehow think that all of these jobs will be restored in the third and fourth quarter, I think would be less than prudent. So I think in many ways, we need to brace ourselves to hunker down and see where this goes. So I'll apologize for this report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Okay, thank you, Leonard, for your report. Any comments, concerns for Leonard by the board?
Listen up, George Neely.
Yes, George.
Leonard, could you put back up that spreadsheet that you had for 3 years? All right, now on that, if you put a 0 in there, that would represent the numbers that were on the second interim.
Correct.
And the 2021 year for then had a COLA already built in?
Yes, sir. 2.8% state COLA.
And I see that the number is lower, so is that taking into account our declining enrollment? Is that why that's lower?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's the same thing true on the 21-22 year, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if and you used a 2.9% figure there, correct?
That would be an average of the two, but I think it would be close to accurate.
Okay. All right. So if you took that 2.9%, you took that away, and then FICMAT is saying that a minimum of 2%. So you're looking right at 5% there, right? 4.9 of what you had. Wow.
Right.
Okay. Now, is this going to be on top of deferrals?
Is it going to be constant deferrals?
You see deferrals coming in addition to this.
This spreadsheet really only covers the 2021 and 21-22 budget years. It doesn't, none of these calculations impact 19-20. Thus far, the only negative cash flow that I've heard about for 19-20 would be the deferrals.
Okay, so let's talk about those deferrals for a second. The 2021 budget year starts in July, correct?
July 1, yes,
Right.
sir.
So we're looking at quite a downturn for 2021. So to think that they're going to pay us the deferrals in July without deferring anything else in the 2021 year, is that a little bit naive?
I think it would be very optimistic, and if they move the payments into the next budget year, I think the probably more likely scenario would be actual state budget cuts rather than additional deferrals.
All right. So do you think that 2 to 10%, do you think that covers completely the budget cuts?
The 2 to 10%, I honestly, I don't know how many of the institutions that serve the state of California would survive at 10%. It's hard to believe in worst case scenarios, and it's also probably equally as difficult for me to believe in the best case scenarios. Usually somewhere in the middle is where these things fall out.
All right, well, the fact that was calling that a negative COLA. So COLA is based on some specific things where they calculate that cost of living. So is it a belief that the cost of living is really going to go down that much?
Well, you have over 30 million people unemployed in the state of California, and I'm not an expert at calculating CPI, but I'm not sure whether everyone's aware. There was a period last week where a barrel of oil traded for negative $40 on the commodities exchange. Interest rates are darn near zero. The energy complex is on the floor or trading through it. And I think a large I mean, 80% of our economy is now service economy, which includes airlines, which includes restaurants, which includes hotels. I'm sure everybody's seen the pictures of Las Vegas. It's just difficult to believe all these will turn around on a dime and go right back up to market level spending that we knew even literally 2 months ago.
So one last question, and I'll let you move on. But these calculations that FICMAT did, do those take into account what some of the medical experts are saying about a rebound of the virus in the wintertime? And as we try to normalize business again, they're saying that we may hit, different people are saying that we may really see an increase in the coronavirus. Do those figures take that into account as well?
That I don't know, but my professional guess would be yes. Everybody, all the analysis I've read recently does typically involve some type of resurgence of new cases and resurgence of hospitalizations. Everybody's trading on a curve these days.
Okay, and I said that was the final question, but it's really not. I was just kidding you. We've got declining enrollment. We've had declining enrollment for several years. What do you see as an impact of the coronavirus on our enrollment in general? Do you see it further declining?
I think our trend is definitely down. And if this decline in employment hadn't been so devastatingly fast and damaging and destructive, I would tend to lean heavily towards the trend, which is down in enrollment.
Okay.
But I found myself asking myself many times over the last few days, if this actually either restricts or eliminates the ability of, say, private schools to conduct business, the big surprise for public education, and I think Lodi Unified in this area, specifically, maybe more than any other district, is that there could be a return to our public school system. So, we're holding out hope, but until we actually see newspaper articles and parent phone calls from parents of children who are currently enrolled in private educations, we won't know for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Khan, thank you very much. It's incredibly thorough, and I really appreciate everything that you do on this. That's all I have.
Thank you, George. Any other comments from the board?
Yes, Mr. Nava, I have a couple questions.
Yes, Mr. Porter.
Mr. Khan, thank you for your hard work. I just want to clean some things up because I'm not as smart as you, but when you say deferred, when you're talking about May, does that mean we're not getting a check from the county?
That's correct, not until July.
Okay, so how do we pay our bills?
Well, the board has, if I can go back to the spreadsheet, the board is projecting, or did project at second interim, that it would have 62,419,000 in ending fund balance in June.
Right.
Or 48 million excluding the non-spendable and the categorical, and also the 3%.
Right.
So those monies would cover part of the deferral. If it would cover basically the deferral, if it were just June. If it were not, if the deferrals included May, our first interfund borrow would probably be against Fund 56. The board may recall that last year the board fully funded all of the future COPS payments. And I believe we have about 15 million in that fund. And then we have upwards of 30 million in our Fund 67, which we can interfund borrow from.
Right.
So the board does have the ability to weather a pretty violent storm here in the short term.
So May is being deferred, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And then June.
Well, I misspoke. We don't know whether May or June are being deferred. Our county office of ed has advised us basically to discount the June deferral and assume it's going to happen. And then 1 week later, which was last Thursday, they also indicated that they're hearing May is also highly likely as well.
Okay, so you have projected an amount that you think you'll receive, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you're also hearing we might not get that amount.
Correct.
And the same thing could happen in June.
Correct.
Okay. So what I'm just trying to clean up for myself is we don't get our whole budget at the beginning of the year. We get dispersed to us by month.
That's correct. And you can find that information in your second interim in the cash flow statement.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. So every month we get a check from the county and the state can technically hold the money up if they need to. Is that correct?
They can, I believe it has to be legislated, but they can hold it.
All right. Thank you very much. I just wanted to know that.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, thank you, Mr. Porter. Any other comments for the board? Okay, any other comments from the audience? Maria?
No, President Nava.
No comments? Okay, if we don't have any comments, thank you, Mr. Khan, for your report. And I know you gave us a overview of what's gonna, the bad things that are gonna happen. So there's no good things to me. So we'll continue on with the agenda and go on to consent agenda A. On consent agenda A, any board members would like to pull any of the items?
I'd like to pull A5 and A6.
Ron?
That's Courtney.
I'm sorry, Courtney. Repeat again, please.
A5 and A6.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else wants to pull any items? How about items we pull from the audience? Maria?
No, President Nava, none.
Nobody? Okay, then I need a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda A.
President Nava.
Neely.
Been moved by Mr. Neely. Second. Second by
Next, Ed.
Gary Knexet, to approve the rest of consent agenda A. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, nobody opposed, so the motion carries 7-0 to approve the rest of routine agenda A. Okay, Mr. Porter, you have A5.
Yes.
Mhm.
I just wanted Mr. Khan to explain to me why we need to increase the, change the road situation here of $600,000 for Valley Robotics. What are they using now?
They're not using a road right now. We do not have an actual fire lane going back to those buildings. The board may recall that the buildings were somewhat vacant for several years. They did have staff working in them, but no students. Now you will have close to 6 classrooms of students there next year. And absent this project, there will be no fire lane that a fire engine can get back to those buildings on.
This is part of code then?
I will say, I think so. I don't want to speak too loudly because we've been left alone for quite some time, but we felt we had to actually address the situation, especially since there's students back there.
All right, thank you very much. That's all I had a question about.
Okay. Courtney, you want to go with this item A then?
Yeah, I mean, I have A6, but I'm
Well, let's go with A5 now that it's finished. Can we go with A5 and then we'll go to 6?
all right. I motion that we approve.
Okay, then motion by Mr. Porter, second.
Eberly, second.
Mr. Heberly, that we approve item A5 on the routine agenda A. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0 to approve item A5. Okay, Mr. Porter, you got A6.
Yeah, on A6, just a couple questions, Mr. Khan. I had item 6241, Keenan, $164,000. Is that a bill, a monthly, quarterly? What is that?
I'd have to check on that, sir. I'm sorry, I don't have it right off the top of my head.
Well, you can just send me an email. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have item 6596, where it says Lodi Unified School District 14640. Same thing with 6808, 6865. Are we billing ourselves and paying ourselves?
May I get those numbers again? 6586?
6596, 6808, 6865, 6866. I'm just
Okay,
curious.
we are not billing ourselves. However, sometimes the contract will come through quickly and need to be requisitioned and turned into a PO so
Right.
that either work or service can start. But we don't have the vendor, the contractor, the manufacturer, the service entity loaded into our QSS system.
Oh, so you just
they'll
put
come-
the USD down?
Yeah, we've just put it as Lodi Unified, then we come back and correct the requisition or PO at a later date.
Okay, I was just curious about that. My last one was 6895 LUSD retainage. It was a $200,000 bill. Is that the same situation?
Actually, that's wherever you see retainage, it's slightly different. So in order to motivate contractors to complete jobs, we typically hold roughly 5% on most jobs. And then once the engineer and the inspector of record signs off of them, we will release that money. It's sort of our bona fide if we
like
feel that
you're holding 10% back or whatever it is, right?
you typically 5%. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. You'll get to me on the Keenan, send me an email on that.
And that's 6241.
That's 6241. Thank you very much. I motion
Yes,
that
sir.
we approve.
Okay, motion by Mr. Porter to approve A6. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. McFarland. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item A6 on routine agenda A passes 7-0. We will continue on with our agenda and go with consent agenda B, student discipline cases.
Motion to approve, Heberly.
Mr. Heberly has motion to approve,
Second.
second by Ms. McFarland. On consent agenda B, all in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries on consent agenda B by 7-0. Items pulled from consent agenda B. Okay, all right, personnel matters. This one should be personnel matters. Mr. McKillican.
Personnel matters are presented for your consideration, Mr. Nava.
Hey, all right, they're there. Board members,
Approval.
Mr. Neely moved to approve.
I second.
Second by Mr. Heberly to approve personnel matters. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries to approve personnel matters by a vote of 7-0. Okay, communications. We don't have any student representatives available to communicate, but we're opening this comments from employee group representatives. Maria?
We have Michelle Orgon.
Ms. Oregon, you got the floor.
Good evening, President Nava, members of the board, Superintendent Washer, and teachers. Thank you this evening for the recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week and California Day of the Teacher being May 13th. We recognize that this is an unusual way to recognize your members of all your different employee groups, and it is a bit different being virtual. Hence, all your teachers, what they are going through, trying to virtually teach and connect and work on continuing relationships with their students. As you know, distance learning is not ideal. And as we agreed to an MOU and a second MOU, I wanted to let you know that we have some members that are not whole in the sense, and through a couple of meetings this week with district people, I wanted to make sure that the board was aware Some of our preschool teachers did not receive full pay that they normally would receive. Upon investigation of how they are paid, part of their day during the day is paid through a time card. So when Leah agreed and the district felt there was no one during the day that was paid on a time card, we were unaware that some of our
We lost you, Michelle? Maria?
I'm not sure what happened, President Nova.
Was she muted or what?
No.
Michelle, are you there?
play a big part in their pocketbook and what they were counting on. Next, I wanted to make you aware of what's happening in the teachers' world with distance learning. As you know, the district did receive some hot spots for students and has started passing those out to families. I still have teachers that are having to increase their data plans daily, sometimes 2 times a day, because they are going over the amount of data that their service provides and what they currently are signed up for. Some teachers I have still do not have internet. Some are suggested that teachers go work in their classrooms. I do know that we have teachers, and I've mentioned to you before, that we have teachers that are driving to school parking lots to upload and download lessons for their students. It is definitely something significant to reach the most amount of students. If we do have available hotspots or something to help out these teachers, whether this is loaning them a hotspot for the time being, or we look at how long this is going to be and how we can significantly offset some of the costs for teachers to conduct the learning from afar. We are still having sites where admins have encouraged teachers to get ready for the end of the year, packing up student materials, bagging them up, picking up paperwork out of their mailboxes. Some of these things we feel paperwork can be done over Google Forms. Our teachers have gone in stride and have done some amazing things in creating their own forms. We are taking applications for registration online. We should be doing paperwork, organizing class lists online also. But as I met with Dr. Washer, this is still a safety issue to have teachers going to school sites. And from what we are hearing, we still do not have all the PPO equipment from our safety meeting for all members to appear on site and go to work. So when leadership encourages teachers to come to the school site, pack up their classrooms, bag up their student materials, or allows this to go on, we are also in effect making more work for our fellow CSEA members. We also do not have a plan in place to mitigate the exposure, not only for that teacher, mitigate the exposure for fellow teachers that may be coming on site to pick up teaching materials, but also for the administrators that are on site daily and custodian, and at some sites, our food service staff. So we hope that we move forward towards a district plan to mitigate this and make sure that we are all on the same page. We don't want the Wild West atmosphere and do as you can. And as you can see, sometimes we have parents that are concerned and asking, why did my child not get this when another child did? So when we lay down that foundation for a plan as to how to retrieve student materials and pass them out, we would ask that we move forward with that and not encourage others to come on site. We do believe that we should follow what the county health order has said. We had I had discussed this week with Dr. Washer to come up with a plan that also addresses our retirees, our transfer teachers, and of course, the student materials. As you know, our retirees, I apologize. I had asked to speak to a couple of other items on the agenda and somehow didn't get called on. So I want to recognize at this time our 36 retirees. They have spent a great deal of time in our district serving Lodi Unified. And if you'll indulge me for a minute, I'd like to call out their names and recognize their years that they have served our district. Sheila Bombach, Sandra Bell, Jill Bratton, Nancy Cadena, Joanne Driggs, Cheryl Evans, Judy Frazier, Treva Fuso, Nina Goldberg, Ruben Gomez, Claire Greenwood, Paul Guthrie, David Hurley, Julie Jensen, William Kitamara, Arnie Larson, Jill Mann, Diana Muir, Grace Morledge, Donna Nemo, Susan Polinsky, Alan Phelps, Sheila Reville, Tammy Rizzolo, Cheryl Robler Davis, Stephanie Seaborn, Martha Snyder, Greg Sousa, Karen Stevens, Catherine Stoddard, Margot Cigarwo, oh, I'm so sorry, Margot, Don Teagan, Jeff Tracy, Herb Volcher, and Elizabeth Wickland. Those members have served this district for many years. And I know we usually have some kind of celebration and lots of pats on the backs, and we get to tell them and recognize their many years of service. So on this celebration of Teacher Appreciation Week, thank you for allowing me to recognize our retirees who has served this district long and well. It is important that we come up with a plan so as they go out and upon retirement are healthy and safe, that we come up with a plan. And I'm sure after speaking with Dr. Washer this week that we can do such a thing. But I hope that you can all take a moment to recognize those 36 teachers that are retiring and thank them so much for their dedication for over many years of service. And here we go, right before the end, taking on the challenge of distance learning. So thank you to those 36 retirees.
Maria, are we finished or? What?
It looks like she muted herself.
Okay, well, then we can continue on. Anybody else, group representatives want to speak?
No, President Nava.
Being none, then we will continue on with our agenda. Dr. Washer, you have any other comments?
Mr. Nava, I just want to make a comment that we are planning on doing some type of alternative recognition for all district retirees, so that will be going out shortly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Washer. Okay, we have other actions. Joe Cerna Junior Charter School renewal. Mr. McGregor.
Thank you. Good evening, President Nava, members of the board, and Dr. Washer. This evening, we present the Joe Cerna Junior Charter School petition for your consideration.
Wishes of the board?
Mr. Nava, Mr. Neely.
Yes, Mr. Neely.
I move we approve it.
All right, being moved by Mr. Neely. May I guess second, please?
I'd like to second that.
Second by Ms. McFarland, that we approved the Joe Cerna Junior Charter School renewal. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion carries to renew the charter of Joe Cerna, a score of 7-0. Okay, we'll continue on with the agenda on other action items. Athletic protocol for student eligibility for fall sports 2020-2021. I know we have discussed this before in our previous meetings. What are the wishes of the board?
President, I have a quick question about that. If there's
Good
any
question by Mr. Knapsack. Yes.
if there's any athletic directors online, I'm not sure, but I'm just wondering what their plan is if we don't have athletics. I mean, I guess the answer is pretty obvious, but have they thought about this, or are you going to have things like golf and not football, or what? But is there any athletic directors out there? Well, I guess not. So
I guess not, Gary. We could find out.
think about it anyway.
Nava,
President
Backstead, we did not ask athletic directors to join us this evening, but Jeff Palmquist is out there if you want him to respond.
I don't think has the answer to. He's good, but he doesn't have a crystal ball. I just was curious what they have thought about. If there is no athletics, or if we're only going to have maybe things like golf and maybe tennis, but not football. I'm just kind of curious.
Yes, absolutely. That could be our reality. We will be watching the health guidelines very closely during the summertime.
Okay.
I think this just refers to their eligibility, Mr. Nava.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
know.
we'll have time for that subject on our next meeting, Gary, okay?
This is just eligibility.
Yep,
Yes. All right, then I need a motion on this.
Motion pass.
I move, Mr. Porter moved that we approve.
Oh, second.
Second by, I didn't
Next.
recognize,
Connects did.
Gary connects it, okay. Did you get that, Maria?
Yes, President
Okay,
Nava.
thank you. Okay, all in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. The protocol for student eligibility for the fall will be as is, okay? All right, we have our next one is high school graduation requirements for senior class of 2020. Any board comments?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Freitas.
I'm glad to see that we are not going to harm our seniors because of the distance learning and of the situation that we're in, that we still will comply with the state standards. And with that, I would move to approve.
Have been moved to approve.
I'd like to second that.
Second by Ms. McFarland to approve the high school graduation requirements from senior class 2020. Mr. Palmquist, good job on this one. I appreciate it. Just to make a little comment before we go to the vote. Montebello School District in Southern California, same district, about 32,000 students. They have a board meeting and the consensus was to lower their graduation requirements to 160. And then they conflict and said, let's go to 180. Their requirements are state, which is 220. So you can imagine what happens there. They're lowering their standards down to the bare minimum. This is a great requirement that we have here in Lodi Unified School District. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Then the high school graduation requirements for senior class of 2020 will exist. Thank you very much. Now we have any board advisory committee reports? We have none. May I hear a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
It has been motioned by all to adjourn. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0 to adjourn.
Mr. Nava, who motioned
yes.
and who seconded?
Everybody
Okay.
motion, Courtney motion.
Yes, second. Mr. Neely, second. Okay. We will see you again on where's our next meeting, Dr. Washer?
May 19th.
May 19th.
May 19th, correct, and then we'll carry on from there on, and very good. And you people have a great evening, and we'll be in touch. Hopefully, we will have a good, successful month of May, and close everything that's proper. And actually, I know we're caring for students, and we're caring for staff, because I was a former teacher, so I know that it's a caring situation. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Edith. Good night.
Yes,
Thanks all,
ditto. Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Ron. Good night.